So presented by Sawgrass Infinity every single week, Amber Wilson joins us. We're coming fresh off our ESPN Radio college football campus tour. Sawgrass Infinity, Florida's #1 volume Infinity dealer at Sawgrass Infinity. You know, you're getting that Sawgrass Infinity promise. We're talking guaranteed most money for your trade, 3-day vehicle exchange policy, transparent vehicle pricing. You're in and out in 90 minutes or less, and you're getting that lifetime warranty. That's right. SawgrassInfinity.com. Over 400 new Infinity models are in stock at all times. Sawgrass Infinity, conveniently located off the Sawgrass and Commercial Boulevard. Sawgrass Infinity, where the commercial ends and the savings begin. Hello, Amber Wilson.
Hello, Jonathan ZASLOW. I think it was our best stop, right, for Florida, Georgia, Florida.
We had a great time this weekend. Our setup was amazing. The Airstream was in a great spot. Constant traffic. We had people around us all the time. We were very close to the stadium. I mean, Amber doesn't like to walk very far, all right? We were really close to the stadium, so when we were done, we were able to go right in, and the game was actually fantastic. We had a great weekend.
Yeah, the game was good. I think that was a surprise to a lot of people. I got to take my son. It was his first Gators game. And it lived up to the hype. I mean, I knew that it would anyways from a rivalry perspective because it's so fun and it's so college football. You know, we're walking into the stadium. All the Georgia fans are chanting their chants. All the Florida fans are chanting their chants. It's nonstop insanity as we're walking through the corridors there. And so that was a lot of fun. It's cool being in a neutral site. It's cool that Jacksonville does a phenomenal job. It won't be there over the next couple of years now while they're renovating that stadium, but it'll be back in Jax. How was your first experience at Florida, Georgia? Because you've embarrassed your ancestors. You've never been to that game before.
My ancestors don't care at all about Florida, Georgia, all right? I am the first ZASLOW to be in Florida, all right, to be from this area. My ancestors do not care about Florida, Georgia. I loved it. I had a great time. I thought the atmosphere was tremendous. I thought it was really cool that the Gators made a great game of it. I was seated right on the 50-yard line in the press box. All right.
You always think you're seated on the 50-yard line. Sounds was seated on the 20 in the press box. He's going to tell me he's seated on the 50.
I was right there on the 50-yard line in the press box. I got the AC blowing on me. I loved it. I had a great time with Florida, Georgia. I hope we wind up doing it again. Although next year, like you said, next year is Atlanta, and then the year after is Tampa, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll have the same sort of pizzazz to it that it normally does. I mean, those are still neutral sites, I guess, but it's got something special to it because Jacksonville's been hosting it for so long. So they're good. They're so good at it. They're so set up for it. So it'll be back there in a couple of years.
I sent Amber the message. It was like, I don't know, mid-first quarter maybe. And I just text her. I go, Canes lost. And the Hurricanes, with just a crushing defeat in overtime against at SMU, and they're pretty much done. Like, the Canes are pretty much done at this point. They dropped to number 18. They have 6 teams in front of them in the ACC. They are 2 games behind, Virginia, who's undefeated right now in the ACC. They lose the head-to-head with SMU. They lose the head-to-head with Louisville. They are still a game back of Georgia Tech. They're a game back of Duke. And it's looking more and more, Amber, like maybe only one team from the ACC will get into the college football playoff.
Which is crazy to say. Now, I know when we projected this in the preseason before, we've talked about basically we feel like with those Power 4 conference championships, win or loser, they're both in, right? I don't know if that's going to be the case with the ACC. And either way, Miami ain't going to be the winner or the loser. And if it was 2 teams in from the ACC, you would think it's more likely to be those 2 teams. Heck, those 2 teams could look a lot better record-wise than Miami by the time we get to Charlotte. So I agree with you. Now Miami is very, very up against it. I know the argument for it is going to be, well, they own the head-to-head against Notre Dame. I feel like that's actually going to be a stronger argument to keep Notre Dame out now. Now I do feel like what just happened to Miami really hurts Notre Dame because what the committee's not going to want to deal with is that. Now we have to put in Miami with a loss to Louisville, a loss to SMU. They're 6th or 7th in their conference, wherever they end up there. I mean, they're still, they're going to end up 3rd at best in their conference. And we are going to do that because we want Notre Dame in so bad. I don't really believe the bias obviously is there with some of these programs, but I don't think the committee needs to get Notre Dame in to that extent. I think it's more likely that means both those teams are out.
I actually look at it from a different perspective. And I brought this up to Mike Ryan on the Levitard show today where, okay, so the Canes are ranked 18. Notre Dame is ranked 10. If you're a Canes fan, do you root for Notre Dame here the rest of the season? And what I mean by that is, okay, maybe you're rooting for Notre Dame because you want a team that you beat to win 10 consecutive games and to look like a playoff team, and then that bolsters your resume. Or do you root for Notre Dame to lose one of these games here because you don't want Notre Dame finishing in the top, let's say, 11, possibly taking away an at-large bid that you're hoping to get? So if you're a Canes fan, are you rooting for Notre Dame the rest of the way here, or are you rooting against Notre Dame?
Do you think it comes? I guess it's. Do you think it comes down to that scenario where they're so desperate to find another at-large that it's either the Miami Hurricanes or the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? And
maybe.
That would be, and I don't know if I see that. I mean, now we're talking about two loss teams, and the resumes just aren't that strong. And we were told by the committee before this season that this season they're going to put a lot of strength of schedule, or a lot of emphasis rather on strength of schedule. All right, who is Notre Dame in this scenario? Like, who the hell is Notre Dame beat with those 10 wins?
Yeah, but this is where losing early really does make a difference as opposed to losing late. It does.
Well, it does. Well, it does, and I understand the argument, like different teams at the beginning of the season and end of the season. But if you're doing the strength of schedule thing, you also have to take into consideration who they lost to, who Notre Dame lost to then, right, in the beginning of the season. And yes, maybe different team, but like a loss to Miami doesn't look nearly as good as it did on the day that it happened, right? And at the same time, they don't have any marquee wins to hang their hat on. So I think from the Notre Dame perspective, I don't know if I see it. I think what's happened to Miami hurts Notre Dame. I just don't know if I see it. So if I'm Miami, I'm not sure it matters, is my point about Notre Dame from here on out. I'm not sure Notre Dame's what's keeping you in or out. I feel like you're probably out either way. I mean, given we still have a lot of football left to play, we know how these things go. Everybody can cannibalize themselves, and all of a sudden Miami could be back in the mix like they still were last season when we're talking about a postseason. But I think both of those programs end up with problems, and I don't think rooting for against Notre Dame is necessarily going to be the deciding factor.
Did you hear the story I told earlier today on Levitard's show, why my son is angry at me right now?
No.
So my older son, Corey, is almost 17. He's a degenerate gambler. And he sent me a text message Sunday morning, a little after I got home. He was at work on Sunday. Sent me a text message on Sunday morning. I didn't talk to him all weekend. And all he writes in the text message is, "You're a terrorist." That's all it says. Yeah. All right. And I'm thinking about it for a second. And then I remember, I write him back, "Oh no." And I realized what happened. So my son is in a survivor pool for the NFL. And it started the beginning of the season, 170 people, $100 a pop. So the grand prize is $17,000 in this survivor pool. $17,000.
How did your son get into this?
How to get the money to
how is it a $17,000 survival pool when he's not of age?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's neither here nor there. All right. So he's in this survivor.
Depending who's listening to this podcast.
It might be here and there. We'll see. I don't know. The government is shut down right now. They got bigger fish to fry. So he's in this survival. And every week he tells you, he's like, I'm doing this week. I'm doing this week. And going into this weekend, the pool of 170 was down to in the 20s. All right. And he's still alive. $17,000. And he comes to me in the middle of this week, and he's got this plan. This week I'm going to do this, or this week I'm going to do this, this week I'm going to do this. And I told him the team that he had picked for this week, he went with Baltimore. And I said to him, dude, he goes, Dolphins are the worst. I'm going with Baltimore. I'm like, it's a Thursday night game. They're on the road. Like, that's a tricky spot, man. Are you sure you want to do that? It's like, yeah, of course, Dolphins suck. He's like, who would you go with? And so, he gives me the games that are available to him. And do you want to guess which game I ended up recommending him to go with?
I have no idea. Did you?
Well,
in a survival pool? I don't know.
Well, you would think that this is a lock, where I told him, go with Green Bay at home over Carolina.
Oh, no.
And he's like, why? I got to save Green Bay. I go, no, you got to live moment to moment. You just got to survive every week. Just survive, Well, don't do the road team on Thursday night. Pick a good home team. And that's why I text back. That's why I text back, oh, no. And I remembered what must have happened, and he's angry at me.
Yeah. I mean, justified, because you talked him out of it, and it was unnecessary for you to do so. So, justified. Now, in fairness to you, you don't fancy yourself an NFL expert. You say that you're a college football
I barely watch sports, all right?
You, Paul Feinbaum, Heather Dinich, right? Those are your college football experts.
Yeah, you're gaining. You're in the you're on the outside looking in. You're gaining. We'll see one day.
Yeah, I was rooting for the Arkansas over Mississippi State result.
No, sneaky decent.
Because you went so hard on the Levitard show last week, just planting a flag, which, by the way, is a take that you stole from me. Because all season I've been telling you that Mississippi State team is
no one knows that.
You can do it. And so you stole that take from me, and then they go down to the wire against Arkansas. And I'm thinking, oh man, that's gonna be hilarious when Arkansas wins.
I'll tell you, I felt really good about myself because I had several Mississippi State fans who tweeted at me after the win. They're like, "Thank you so much for sticking up for us this weekend." I felt really good about myself.
All right, there you go. You're big in Starkville.
Sneaky decent. Amber, I mentioned this at the start of the show today. I'm starting to get old. And the way that I know that I'm starting to get old, so Saturday night I get back to the hotel. After the game, we're in Jacksonville, so with the crew at ESPN West Palm. We went to a bar, we were watching the first few innings of the baseball game. Like, all right, I'm gonna go walk back to the hotel. I'm tired, I'm gonna go watch there, And I fell asleep in like the 8th inning of what ended up being all-time World Series and an all-time Game 7. And it was one of those where not only did I fall asleep, but I fell asleep TV on, lying in bed, like not ready to go to sleep, like an old man. And I missed the finish. And on top of that, because I'm not normally like that, and on top of that, like last night, the Heat, whenever I see the Heat are on the West Coast, last night's Heat game was at 9:30 Eastern time. They were at the Lakers. Like, all right, cool. That's not that bad. Stay up until midnight. Got something to watch late. I made it to late in the second quarter. Like, I can't hang anymore. The Heat tonight are playing at the Clippers. It's a 10:30 start. Amber, I got no chance.
Can I defend you for a second, which is not something I'm used to doing, because I'd much rather pile on and make fun of you. But I don't know if it's you getting old as much of is it our weekend schedule, because I don't think people understand. So I did the exact same thing on Saturday night. I got into bed at my hotel room. The baseball game was on. My husband's watching the World Series. Now, given I'm in a hotel room also with my kids, because my family came to this game with me. And so my the one son's sleeping next to me in bed because we got the double bedroom. So the one kid's next to me in bed, the baby's sleeping in the crib. My husband's watching the World Series. And so I just pass out. And I pass out with the TV on. I can't hang either. But part of it is because at that point, you and I had a crazy day for like 15 straight hours. So our schedules are so crazy. Like, I am so exhausted by the time I get to my hotel room on a Saturday night. I was so tired, Zaslow. I walked into my hotel room, right, with my son, and my mother-in-law was sitting at the bar waiting for us. And so I ordered a glass of wine because I'm like, oh, long day, it's over. I deserve a glass of wine. I'm getting a glass of wine. Order a glass of wine. I take it up to my hotel room. Can't get through it.
I did that too. Like the night before, I took I took my drink. I had a whiskey left. I took it up to my room. It was still sitting there Sunday morning when I left.
Yep, me too. Me too. Like my nice glass of Cabernet from the bar. It's just sitting there on the nightstand. So I did the exact same thing. And I think it's obviously some of it's an age factor. Some of it is, I think, that we're so darn busy on the weekends now with what we do that it's just a different thing by the time you get back.
Amber, Saturday night, of course, the Jays lost the way that they lost. And I couldn't help but I felt so terrible for the Jays fans. They were like when the Jays hit the 3-run homer early in the game, the crowd's going bonkers. They're so excited. They're up 4-3 in the 9th inning. They're up 4-2 in the 8th inning. And they hadn't won a World Series, haven't even been to a World Series in 32 years. And then they experienced just the worst thing you could experience as a sports fan, and it's losing the way that they did in Game 7 of the World Series. And it was so one of those moments that I think to myself, I'm like, if I'm a Jays fan, I'm definitely saying to myself, why do I even care? Like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I allow this to ruin my life? I feel like I felt so terrible for them.
See, I have such a different perspective on this. Now, I did feel a little bad for them because of the way in which they lost. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, let me be in a World Series, right? Let me be in a championship game with any of my teams and lose it. And that's not, nobody wants to lose. But, I mean, I would take that, like, let the Dolphins play in a Super Bowl and lose it in my lifetime. All right.
Okay, but it's like, let me lose in a World Series 4-1. Not blow a 3-2 lead with both those games at home and both of them coming down to the wire in Game 7 in extra innings after you allowed a home run in the 9th inning to tie it.
Yeah, I mean, that part sucks, but at least also you have the advantage, the added advantage, and I know you don't necessarily feel this way. I do feel this way. If I spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, which is what I imagine those people in Toronto spent on tickets, right? If you're spending thousands of dollars to attend a sporting event, let it be good. Let it be competitive. I mean, heck, I even felt like that with Florida, Georgia. Like you don't feel like that. Like you'd rather have the blowout. I don't really understand that mentality. When I'm there in the stadium for Florida, Georgia, and I actually bother to get tickets and not sit in the press box because I want to sit with my son and take him to his first Gators game. I mean, let it be a competitive game. Don't give me some sort of blowout one way or another. And it was competitive down to the wire, even though the Gators still lost. I would take that any day.
Okay, but that's completely different. You're going for a family experience in that spot. You're going for a core memory in that spot. That's not the same thing.
People are doing the World Series. They're just adults doing it.
I mean, Amber, those people leaving the Rogers Center in that moment, if you were to walk up to them and say, hey, did you have a good time tonight? You think they're saying yes?
Up until the end.
Worst moment of my life.
If you gave them truth serum, was this fun until the end?
Fun to me.
They would say it's fun. ZASLOW is fun.
That is not fun to me.
Watching your team get blown out is not fun in person. I've been there. I've done that. It ain't fun.
I'm not a fan of having my heart ripped out.
And also, nobody's leaving the World Series early. So you also have to factor that in. If that kind of event and you're spending that kind of money on tickets, it's not like it's a blowout and then you're freaking leaving probably. It's not a regular game. You spent all this money on the World Series. So then you're just standing there and watching yourselves get obliterated. That's terrible.
Worst you have ever felt after your team lost was what?
It was a Gators loss to Tennessee when I was a kid. And the reason that I remember that was that I was crying. And I remember crying over the sporting event and being like, wow, maybe.
How old were you?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. I honestly don't remember. Like middle school.
But were you a teenager? You were middle school. Okay.
I was like middle school. No, I was still pretty young. Like I wasn't like a full blood. But it was that first realization of my life that I was like, maybe I need to reel it back in a little bit with the emotions surrounding Gators football. So probably then that's the one that sticks out in my head.
Amber, 30 years ago today, I already mentioned this on the show today. 30 years ago today, the most I have ever cried involving sports. I was 14 years old, and 30 years ago today, Glenn Rice was traded.
Oh.
Hysterical crying.
Told this story, which, by the way, you were 14.
Yeah. Yep.
People having sex at 14.
I wasn't having sex at 14.
No, you definitely weren't. You were bawling over Glenn Rice.
That's the giveaway? That's
You're
the giveaway?
in high school. Get it together.
That's the giveaway?
That's the giveaway, that you were not. Yes. Not that you should be doing that, kids, as a freshman in high school. I'm just saying people do. Those people are not Jonathan ZASLOW.
Amber, tell everybody how they can hear you, because finally tonight you're going to earn a paycheck.
Oh my God, I have to go back to my regular job. I'm super bummed about it. I'm on air tonight, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio alongside Courtney Cronin. She's filling in for Ian Fitzsimmons tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't worked with her for a long time. I don't know how she has time to do my show because she does everything now at ESPN, but I'm definitely excited to hear from her about all of her insanity and about that Bears game yesterday from her as well. And it's exciting to be back for my normal show, Zaz, but I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. wide awake. Like, I have been wired since 5 in the morning because of this stupid time change. And today I have to be on air till 10 p.m. tonight, which is going to be horrific because I'm sure at 10 p.m. it's going to feel like 3 in the morning.
Amber and I will be together again Friday night. We're going to be live in Tuscaloosa. And then Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're there in Tuscaloosa for Alabama and LSU for college football campus tour. Excellent job, Amber. Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.